On this episode of Beyond the Bounce, we sit down with Hall of Famer Nancy Lieberman to discuss her accomplishments as a player and her new appointment as assistant coach with the Sacramento Kings. Also on this episode, we answer some questions for Nancy on social media and play a little small ball to find out if she can topple our two champions, Del Harris and Delonte West. Welcome to Beyond the Bounce. I'm your host, Travis Blakely. Joining me now, very special guest, head coach, assistant coach now, Nancy Lieberman. Welcome aboard.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. We're very honored, thankful to have you here, Coach.
I love it. I love the legend, so I'm glad I'm here.
Awesome. Well, we'd like to give our audience a chance to dive into your life a little bit deeper, go beyond the box score, beyond the bounce, as we like to say here. So if we can, let's open things up with where your passion for basketball began and your general basketball upbringing there in New York.
Well, without a doubt, I'd have to say the schoolyards. You know, my influences growing up was the New York Knicks and Dr. J, certainly Walt Frazier, Willis Reed. I'm number 10 because Walt Frazier was number 10. I played post in high school and could use my left hand because Willis Reed was lefty, and I tried to take a lot of like Clyde's coolness, but you know, the captain's, you know, tenacity and leadership. So those were really great days for me, just growing up and playing 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3 in the schoolyard until I got to the place where I would be able to go 5-on-5.
And that for you came about a little bit later in life as you were playing with the guys, whether it was pickup or officially, until your sophomore year in high school?
I had always played against guys. My first sport, most people don't know this, but my first sport was football. I played in a tackle football league, and I hate to say it, we were so poor that we went to a thrift shop and there was a New York Jets helmet. It was a lamp, and so we bought it for a quarter. Okay. And so I didn't have a helmet to play in this league. So I bring the lamp home and I unscrew the bottom and I unscrew the top and I take the wires out and I put, you know, towels in it and I took duct tape, and so I had my first helmet. So I'm running back a kick, and this guy like plows into me, his helmet in my gut. I lose my breath, and when my head hit back, my plastic lamp fell apart and my towels fell out, and the only thing that stuck was the duct tape, and the helmet was like split on each side, and I was like, put it back together, and I'm like, I'm gonna go home now. And I go to the house, and my mother goes, "What happened to the lamp?" It was so funny. So then I went to play baseball, and I was the starting shortstop on our baseball team, but they wouldn't insure me at the PAL because I was a girl. I said enough of that, and I started playing basketball in earnest as my sport.
Wow. And by the age of 17, Team USA had already come calling.
It's crazy, but 1975, I was a sophomore. Just finished my sophomore year, became a junior in high school, made the Pan Am team. We won the gold medal in Mexico City, and then in '76 we won the silver medal in Montreal, and I was a senior in high school.
Wow. Now certainly there were a lot of positive influences that pushed you to reach those heights of success, but there had to be some detractors as well.
When you're a child of the 60s and 70s and there's no Title IX, there's no gender equity, there's no WNBA, people just don't have a reference for girls playing sports and then playing with guys. So it was easy for them to call me a tomboy, or you're never going to make anything of yourself. Girls don't play sports. So you have to be so confident and believe so much and have so much passion for what you're doing. And then I was 10 years old, and as the story is told, I saw Muhammad Ali on TV saying that he was the greatest of all times. And I went in the kitchen and I looked at my mother and I said, "I'm going to knock you out. I'm going to knock you out in 2 rounds. She goes, "I am your mother." I said, "I don't know what I'm going to do to him." She goes, "Him is your brother." Like I said, "I don't know what I'm going to do to him." And she says to me, "Why are you talking like that?" "I don't know." And I just put my hands on my hips, looked at her and said, "You better get used to it. I'm going to be the greatest basketball player of all time, greatest female basketball player of all time. I'm going to make history." And I walked out of the kitchen, flaming red hair, 10 years old. Don't have a clinical reason for my outburst, but it's just the way it was, and I fell in love with Muhammad Ali. Ended up meeting him at 19. He's been my guiding light, my friend since then, and he just gave me the vision and the belief. He taught me how to love myself. He taught me to be fearless, to respect everybody and fear nobody.
Really help kind of illustrate some experiences for you and things that you could take with you. So we fast forward from that moment to roughly a month ago, and a phone call comes in from Sacramento, California, the great George Karl. What was that moment like, and can you take us, into the phone line, into that conversation, and share with the audience your joy, everything else that happened, every emotion that was running through you at the time?
Well, I think before I can take you to that moment in time, that doesn't happen a month ago without Donnie Nelson. So, like for me, I'm really proud of Donnie, because Donnie has set the tone of what he'll accept and what he won't. He's not a conformist. He's a game changer. So everybody gives Coach Popovich, everybody gives Bruce Arians, of course, Coach Karl and all these people props for being strong men to change our sport and our society. But it was Donnie Nelson who didn't do it with the toe in. He didn't say, hey, let's see if you can do this. You're my head coach. Mm-hmm. So Donnie, he deflects a lot of the, the pats on the shoulder. He's not really interested in that. But Donnie will go down in history as a game changer, not only in my book, but worldwide. So without Donnie Nelson giving me the opportunity to coach our team and to be a head coach and for us to be successful, I don't get this phone call a month ago where I knew that this was going to happen. I just didn't know when. We had been in discussions, and I really believe that the Summer League kind of sealed the deal, because they saw that it was normal. It was there was a lot of synergy with myself and the coaching staff with the Kings, that it was normal, even though I looked different than them. We could work together. It was really, I believe, and Vladi had a chance to see what George was talking about. And I was in the gym at Plano West, and it was before I had left for Gerg's camp, my NBA coaching camp in August. And I knew I was going to meet those guys in Las Vegas, but I think Vladi just got to the point with George and said, what are we waiting for? So my phone was blowing up, and I'm working out TJ, and Del Harris is with me, because I had Del. I said, Del, come into this one practice. I want you to kind of work with TJ. And finally, I'm like, I got to answer the phone. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm like answering the phone, and it's reporters calling me that said that they had just finished a interview with Vladi Divac, and he said that he's offering me the job. And I kept saying, he said what? Just say that again. I just got off the phone with Vladi, and he said that he is hiring you as the assistant coach for Sacramento. TJ was like screaming. Del Harris, his hair turned white. I mean, they were there in the moment that it happened. And Del's been such an incredible advocate for me. I can't even begin to tell you his belief, what it means to me. And then, Coach Karl called me that evening, and he welcomed me, and we had a chance to talk. Then Vladi called me and said, we're really excited to have you on board. And the cool thing about Vladi, when I was with him in Las Vegas, everybody was talking about, well, we're going to have this press conference. He goes, Nancy, why do we have to have a press conference? It's normal. We would have a press conference to say something's not normal. Right. And I just went, I really like you. It was like Vladi dropping dimes all over again. He said, why would we make a big deal out of hiring a qualified coach? How great is that? I mean, as
coming from your boss, having that stamp of approval.
It's great. I mean, you're the dad of a little girl. How would you like for your next boss, or you being the boss, to say, this is normal, this is our coaching staff? And the same thing with the press releases, which I was really impressed with. Everybody does their big press. Oh, we hired a woman. We hired a canary. We have a, It was, here's the Kings coaching staff. George Karl, Chad Isick, John Welch. Our assistant coaches will be Nancy Lieberman and Anthony Carter, and so on and so forth. It was just normal business, which made me feel really, really good about how they were handling it. And I'll never forget, about 5 years ago, when I told David Stern, I said, David, I really want to get back to coaching. He said, it's going to happen for you. Just make sure you do this with somebody who you have a relationship with, who really cares and gets the moment and understands.
How would you survive without TV or cable in remote lands?
What's up, Facebook? You got the Smiths here. We're hanging out tonight, doing a little camping action. We got Sarah over here, of course. We got some popcorn. We got this awesome new ZTS Pro 2. Sarah got me for my birthday. She's got this sweet little USB drive in the back. We got a dinosaur film picked out for this evening.
Welcome back to Beyond the Bounce. This episode, of course, featuring none other than the great Hall of Famer, Nancy Lieberman. Nancy, got a Twitter question from @MFFL and he wanted to know that why has it taken so long for the WNBA to get a team here to Dallas, and is that a good thing?
Brian, that's a great question, but it took a long time for me to get into the NBA. So sometimes we're not on the time frame that we want, but we're here. So I'm sad for Tulsa, to be quite honest, because they have a lot of loyal fans that for the last 6 years have really been supportive. But I'm excited for Dallas, Texas, because the last women's professional team I played on in 1984, the Dallas Diamonds, that's how I got here. This is going to be an absolutely great market for the WNBA, and this town is going to really take to these athletes. Skylar Diggins is just gorgeous, talented, high IQ, and loves this game. You're going to fall in love with her.
Can't wait till they kick off their inaugural season here in Dallas. And I'm going to ask you to kick off what we call our very own game here of small ball, popular term amongst basketball heads. But our version involves a miniature hoop no taller than 6 inches, and the current high score is 3. I have a feeling your competitive Jones is boiling over right now. So we're going to throw 24 seconds on the clock, Coach, and when you're ready, fire away.
Okay, so first of all, you told me that Del Harris and Delonte had 3.
Correct.
Okay.
And we're off and running.
Okay, let's see. I'm using my left hand. Did Delonte use his left hand?
He definitely used his left hand. He proclaimed himself the small ball middle school champion of the East Coast. So talked a big game.
Okay.
Almost halfway done, Coach.
This is not fair. All right, let me go right hand.
She's going.
Oh,
Time to switch it to the right.
that was not good either. Did Donnie invent this? At like
This
a
is definitely a.
like
This
at
is definitely a.
Starbucks. Oh my gosh, Donnie Nelson.
Got
I
one.
Got one.
And our time is up. We'll count if it goes.
Okay, forget
there
it.
it is. We can
Okay,
throw small ball out the
out.
window. Get rid of that.
Don't bring this to Sacramento, please.
Coach, one last thing I want to ask you to do before we
Yes.
head out. And I have to give you a technical foul.
Okay.
It's not the bad one. Technical as in technology. Our friends at ZTE make the podcast possible. So we're going to take a quick little selfie that we can use for the website, let it live
do it.
on, and capture the moment.
Let's do it.
All right.
Okay, here we go. You gotta go higher for a girl.
There you go.
Girls.
You
girl-
know-
Okay,
you're the
girls
expert.
go higher.
Girls go higher.
Okay, ready?
1, 2, 3. Coach, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Honor and a pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks,
Best
Travis.
of luck. Congratulations on such an amazing accomplishment.
Go Legends. God bless you. Thanks for having me.
Beyond the Bounce, presented by ZTE, or better known as BTB by ZTE, is an inside, in-depth look at various basketball personalities, philosophies, and happenings around the game today. Whether it's globally, at the NBA, or at the NBA D-League level, we want to take a closer look through the use of several of our Texas Legends celebrities and many other of our friends as to why the game is played the way it is, some interesting stories along the way, and just some other information you may not find in your normal sports highlight show. We look forward to you tuning in to the next episode of Beyond the Bounce.